Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Let us kickstart our seminars 5 and 6. So I just posted the QR code link. I will post it again for your convenience. Please register your attendance. Okay, let us get started. Today we will have two activities: Gibbs cycle and self-directed learning evidence table. So welcome to seminars 5 and 6. Let us get started. Before we start, let me just remind you there were 4 activities. Seminar 1, time management grid exercise. You need to attach your worksheet. Seminar 2, you need to attach one of the PDPs, personal professional development plans. Any format is fine. Seminar 3, you need to attach your top 10 employable skills evidence, add it to your portfolio. And Seminar 4, your personal branding canvas. So we have finished these 4 activities. Make sure that they are complete and add them on your portfolio. They should be together in a Word file. Today, we have 2 more activities. Seminar 5 activity will be Gibbs Cycle of Reflection, and Seminar 6 activity will be evidence table for your self-directed learning activities. So let's kickstart our seminar with the Gibbs Cycle of Reflection. In this one, you will create your own, apply the Gibbs Cycle of Reflection to one of your own experiences. So let's revisit why reflection is important and what it is. Reflection is looking back at an experience, making sense of it to identify what to do in the future. Why do we reflect? We write down things to help us clarify our thoughts and emotions, to work out strategies, and to focus on our development and progress. It is essentially a process of disengaging from or stepping back from an incident and taking time to deliberately review it, carefully review, think about it, and extract meaning from it. Okay? So it is also known as experiential learning. Why do we reflect? Because it enhances your ability to evaluate situations, and it enhances your self-awareness and problem-solving skills. So reflective managers are able to recount their stories of success and failure. They can ascribe meaning to their experiences, and they can critically challenge and question themselves as well as their organizations to transform their practice. Gosling and Mintzberg have written on this. Without an understanding of meaning from one's own experiences, managing becomes a mindless exercise. Reflection is so-called the suspended space between where the manager has had an experience and the explanation for it. So you need that reflective space. This space is where you are able to make the linkages, including possible options. We call it the imagination space. So you will practice this reflective space through applying the Gibbs cycle. There are 6 stages, as you can see: description, feelings, evaluation, analysis, conclusion, and action plan. You will go through each of these. There are a set of questions, and I want you to apply this Gibbs cycle to a critical incident. So to apply reflection, try to keep a journal, reflective journal, and capture your idea, your experiences, and how to make sense of them. To achieve a deep and high quality reflection, you need to stand back from the incident and engage in self-questioning. Also take into account others' experiences and views. I also added 10 questions to facilitate your reflection. You can refer to them. They are in your slides. Everything can be a source of reflection. So you can use a critical incident. It can be positive, negative. It can be a mistake that you have done. It can be a conversation that you would like to revisit. It can be issues that keep you awake at night. So these are all good sources of reflection. What are some skills and attitudes for reflection? Keep a diary at all times. Record critical incidents. time for regular writing and reflection. Be open, vulnerable, and honest. So Borton's model is very similar. What, so what, now what is the event? You describe the event. So what, you think and analyze about it, analyze the event, and draw conclusions from it. And now what is looking forward? So now I want you to prepare for your focused free writing. You will be writing and applying the Gibbs cycle. Please grab a pen or a pencil and have your notebook with you or some empty sheets of paper and be ready to start writing. Why do we do reflective thinking? It is critical because employers want managers or professionals who are self-aware, who can capitalize on their strengths, who will have an impact wherever they go, who are committed to learning and personal development, and who can confidently provide evidence for these claims. That's why we do reflect. But you need a critical incident to start with. This is an interesting story or a hook that you will be using. You want to go back to this incident. So I want you to choose a critical incident. What happened and why was it something that was crucial that you want to revisit? Think about it. For example, think about this coronavirus lockdown since the end of March. Almost for the last 6-7 months, we are locked down in our homes and everything in our life has changed, right? So we are trapped in our houses most of the time. We cannot travel. We had to cancel our holidays. We cannot continue our education as usual. We do everything online like today. So how do these things have influenced you, and how have you coped with these? You can take it as a critical incident and reflect on it and document what you learned from it. Okay, so this can be one of the examples. So please choose your critical incident. You will be applying each of the stages. Description. In your description, try to be specific. What was the setting, context, layout, people, events, your emotions, etc. And then you apply your feelings. Think about your feelings. In the next one, you do the evaluation. And then you do the analysis, conclusion, and action plan. So I want to apply these 6 stages. In order to do that, please go to your Blackboard and download your Gibbs Cycle of Reflection worksheet. You will be typing on it. So this is the document that you will be working on. The first 2 pages are guidance about the Gibbs cycle. You will start in page 3 with the description. Which critical incident will you be focusing on? Just try to type up your responses to these with a couple of bullet points. Okay, so you don't need to come up with full sentences, just come up with a couple of bullet points. Quickly capture your thoughts and brainstorming. So you will be working on this document. Okay, go over the 6 stages. That is your task. So please start typing up, download this file, start typing up. I actually have written an article on this, as I said. I'm reposting this article. So if you click on this link, you can also follow this guidance. Let me actually share it. This is the article that I published yesterday. How to apply Gibbs Cycle of Reflection and why this is useful for your learning and personal development. So what is reflection? What are the benefits of reflection? Why is it critical? We focused on this already. What is Gibbs cycle? How does it work? It is formed of 6 parts, right? You apply each part now. Why do we apply it? Why have we chosen Gibbs cycle? Why is it useful? And if you are not sure on what to choose, please go over this section, how to choose your critical incident. So a critical incident is something that has had a significant impact on your personal and professional learning. Maybe it made you to stop and think. Maybe it has kept you awake at night. Maybe it raised some questions, confusion. Maybe you have questioned yourself as a result. Try to choose a story or a hook that is interesting and significant. Why should we care? Why do you care? Try to choose something that you want to revisit, go back, analyze, and reflect upon. Okay. If you want examples, you can also click on Dan Levy. He's a teacher, so most of his examples are about teaching mistakes, but still it is useful to see some examples. So these are also some more examples. Maybe you had a conflict with one of your colleagues. You had a communication accident, misunderstanding. Or you found something particularly challenging, let's say. You confronted somebody, or you have felt confronted by somebody. You questioned yourself, let's say. Or there was a difficult episode that you want to revisit. So please choose your critical incident. And what you will do is you will apply each stage of the Gibbs cycle. Let's apply each stage of the Gibbs cycle in 1 minute, quickly, in the next 6 minutes. So let's start with the description. There are some questions that will guide you here. I want you to type up your answers quickly. What happened? So describe the situation, the events as they unfolded. What happened? Where were you? Who were there? Why were you there? What did you do? And how did the events unfold? Try to provide a bit of detail. Imagine that this is like a chapter in a novel, or it is like a scene in a movie, in a TV series. It is like a scene. Describe how it has unfolded and capture your ideas. You can use bullet points. So please keep writing. Try to wrap it up, please. Okay, feelings. Reflect on your feelings and thoughts during this experience. How were you feeling? How did your emotions change? What were you thinking? What do you think about it now? What about others? How were they feeling? Etc. So try to respond to some of these. You can also follow your handout. Follow your handout and respond to questions there. You don't need to respond to every question there. If something feels redundant and you are repeating yourself, you can just erase that question. Okay. What matters is the spirit of what you share. And applying the Gibbs cycle rigorously, that's what matters. Okay. So capture your feelings and the changes in your feelings, please. and keep writing. Try to wrap it up, please. Okay, let's continue with evaluation. In this section, you will evaluate what went well and what didn't go so well. So what was about this experience? What was bad about it? What went well? What didn't go so well? Please respond to these and keep writing. Try to wrap it up, please. Okay, let's continue with the next one, which is the analysis. In this part, you try to make sense of what happened. Try to understand, make sense of what happened and why. Perhaps you can do research about this or divide into parts the experience. What you can divide it into parts and analyze the experience or try to extract meaning. Here are some questions to guide you. Why did it go well or not so well? How would you behave if you were the other person? What about if you were an independent observer? Can you make better sense of the situation? Can you break it into parts, analyze it further? How can you approach it from multiple angles, multiple perspectives? And is there any additional knowledge, theories, research, resources that can help you in better understanding the situation? Okay, so you don't need to answer each question, just capture your thoughts regarding these domains. Keep writing. Try to wrap it up, please. Let's continue with conclusion now. In the next section, I want you to extract your learning, your insights and conclusions about this situation. What did you learn? How can you summarize your learning? What are the key things you learned? Are there any new perspectives, new insights? How could this have been a more positive, constructive situation for everyone involved? So try to address some of these. What did you learn? Summarize, capture it. Try to wrap it up, please. Let's continue now with the action plan, which is the last stage. Now, having taken an inventory of all your perspectives and insights, you now look forward. What will you do next? How can you do things differently? For example, if a similar situation arises again, what would you do differently? How can you make sure that you will act differently and more effectively next time? Are there any gaps or areas of improvement? What type of knowledge or skills can you develop? How can you make progress, go forward? How can you keep learning and improving? And what are your goals that you set for yourself? Okay, so please respond to some of these questions, capture your thoughts, and keep writing. Try to wrap it up, please. Now, you can also look at samples of reflective writing. I have included 3 links in this article. You can click on them. Some of these are about hospitalizing from nurses. One of them is from Edinburgh about teamwork. So click on the examples if you want to see some examples of Gibbs cycle in action. And in the last part, I give you some suggestions on how to increase the quality and depth of your reflection. So you can have a look at these. Have you chosen good hooks, good events that are interesting and compelling? Have you clearly described these events and the context with rich details? Have you pointed out to, let's say, multiple layers, complexities, instead of sticking to one-sided arguments? Can you think about multiple ways of approaching your topic, if you can? Are there any alternative explanations? Can you enrich your analysis through feedback of other people who are involved? And there are some other advice as well. Feel free to ponder, generate more questions, rather than settling for one right answer. Keep a diary, continue reflecting. You can personality test to explore yourself as well as personalities of others. This is a great website. You can learn so much about yourself taking their test on this website. You don't have to use other models, just Gibbs is fine. What did you learn? What did you discover as a result? What will you do differently next time? Have you documented any changes in yourself? Are there any implications? Have you pondered on ambiguities, ambivalence, difficult emotions, let's say? Have you incorporated your reflect voice? Do you have a new, fresh perspective now? Etc. Okay, so you can benefit from these as well. So I want you to try to finish your notes, capture your ideas, and be ready to share them with your friends. You will share what you have come up with, the critical incident and your learning in just 1 minute or less. Okay, summarize it in just 1 minute or less. So I will assign you to teams. Be ready to talk, please. If you can talk, please do talk. So you'll do this in groups of 3. Let's get started. Okay, so sorry for interrupting your discussions, but we are a bit short on time. That's why I wanted to kickstart the last activity, which is Seminar 6 activity. So in Seminar 6, what we will do is you will do self-directed learning evidence table. So this is evidence table for your self-directed learning. So the premise of this activity is that learning occurs everywhere. It is not just from the textbook or from your classes. Actually, real learning occurs outside the classes and in your real life. Let's say you can learn so much from these TED Talks or from the internet or from watching a movie or reading a book or some artistic theater events, attending some activities or your own experiences. So I want you to capture some of your learning through this. I want you to listen to Desert Island Discs episodes. Try to listen to them. You can capture your learning from some of these episodes through this activity. Or if you are watching TED Talks regularly, you can summarize what you learned from some of the talks that you were inspired by. So the idea is come up with things that you have recently learned, reflected on, and you have been inspired by. What excited you recently? Into learning and put it on your self-directed evidence table. So here is my evidence table. I have done my homework, as you can see. Desert Island Discs. I have chosen 2 episodes, Dame Zaha Hadid. So I talk about courage, creativity, conviction, tenacity, free creative spirit. And I talk about Kat Kidston episode. After listening to that episode, it is an amazing success story, 50 million pounds worth of brand, 100 shops. Japanese are crazy about the brand, calling it kawaii, cute, a celebration of cheerfulness. It's a remarkable success story, but after listening to her, I have realized how many obstacles were there and our vulnerability. So like I summarize my learning, okay? So you can choose some sample Desert Island Discs episodes. You can find them if you Google it. For this section, I mean, it can be anything. You can reflect on anything. So it's like now in this part, it is not about incidents anymore. It is about anything that inspired you, okay? But if you are asking about Seminar 5 activity, which is the Gibbs cycle, it has to be something that you have experienced, okay? Does that make sense? So like for Seminar 5, it has to be your experience. For Seminar 6, for this one, it doesn't have to be any incident, okay? You can learn from anything. So as you can see, after Desert Island Discs, I have chosen 2 TED Talks. Benjamin Zander's talk on classical music, which was amazing, and Elizabeth Gilbert's talk on creativity, which was, again, fascinating. Both talks are great. I just summarized my learning. I also read 2 books recently, let's say, when I prepared this. Give and Take by Adam Grant. That's a great book on generosity. And Watching the English by Kate Fox. It is about an anthropology book about unique habits of British people. So I summarized just these, what I learned from these 2 books. Okay, so if you have come across any inspiring books recently that you have learned from, you can also write a few bullet points. I also watched some movies and series, and I summarized them here. The Martian, Matt Damon's famous movie, like he is stranded on Mars, he's growing potatoes, it's a master class in perseverance and creativity. So I liked that movie. I just summarized my learning from it. And I watched a lot of Downton Abbey, wasted a lot of time on it. So I turned it into some piece of learning through a piece of sentences. Okay. So this was my sample chart. You can create your own. You can also borrow from events, conferences, networking, talks, concerts, festivals, sports events, or arts events, anything that inspired you recently. They can be online events as well, of course. You can borrow from different aspects of your life. Try to borrow from your experiences that are recent in the last 2 months, let's say. And normally we do it on a weekly basis, but don't worry about that. You know, like as we are doing it on an accelerated basis, I would say try to come up with 6 activities, minimum 6 different activities. Okay, so you can borrow from a Desert Island Disc episode, TED Talk, movie, book, or your hobbies, etc. But try to choose things that you are really passionate about or excited by. Okay, like make it exciting and useful for yourself. Okay, so let me remind you the document. So if you haven't downloaded, please go to your Blackboard, and this is the document you need. Evidence table for self-directed learning. Please type up your responses activities. You need 6, okay? So you can eliminate the second page. You can just eliminate these if you want. Just 6 activities are enough, okay? So for example, I'm watching Star Trek Discovery Season 1 right now. What did I learn about? I learned about parallel universes, binary star systems, traveling across the galaxy, power dynamics between different civilizations, and it expanded my perspectives about our existence in this universe or multiverse. Okay, so I read a book recently called The Physics of the Future by Michio Kaku. I learned about space elevators, symbiosis between machines and humans, quantum computing, the future of space exploration, singularity, AI revolution, etc. So I need to open my mind to new possibilities in these fields. And one way to learn more is to read and watch more science fiction, etc. So whatever comes to your mind, please capture them and keep writing. TED Talk, write down the title of the TED Talk and the name of the person, and then extract some lessons. Again, Desert Island Disc episode. Which episode did you listen to? Write the name of the guest and extract some lessons. Were there any online events you attended? Again, you can choose one of them and summarize your learning. Okay, so in total, you should have 6 experiences. You can put more if you want, but 6 is enough. Okay, so please work on this. Type up your own evidence. So is everyone clear on what you need to do? Are you clear? I actually wrote an article on this and published it very recently. Let me post it. You can also look at it if you want to look at more guidance. Here is the link. Let me actually share this article with you as well. It is just hot off the press. I published it just this afternoon. How to apply Gibbs Cycle of Reflection and why it is useful. No, not this one. Sorry. The other one. Let me share it again. Sorry. The other one, yeah. I just published it this afternoon. How to turn everything in your life into learning. And self-directed learning evidence table helps you to capture your learning and inspiration. So the idea is that learning occurs everywhere. Are there any films, dramas, TV shows you watched and you loved watching recently? Any books, articles you loved reading? Arts and sports events, performances, talks, or any other personal experiences or hobbies, let's say. You can look at any field. So this is the table that I shared with you, the sample one. Yeah. So the idea here is I want you to learn from other sources other than the classroom and textbooks. Real learning occurs from the life itself, your life itself. You know, your TV, like a TV show, radio, the internet, movies, books, articles, social media, etc. You can learn from all. So that's why I want you to listen to some Desert Island Discs episodes. The links are here. Or you can watch some TED Talks. The links are here. Or there are some other ideas here. But the idea is you can turn every experience into a learning opportunity. That's the big idea here. And I want you to experiment with this idea. For example, I wasted my entire week through binge watching. This happened very recently. Yeah. So I turned it into an article. Or I watched this My Octopus Teacher documentary, which was great. I wrote a short review. Or another documentary. I loved it. Wrote a review. Or this abstract series. I love watching this. So I wrote about it. Okay, so anything that you watched, which TV shows, series, documentaries did you watch that you found inspiring? Capture them in a very short review. Put them onto your table. Okay, you can even publish these as blogs. You can also write about the books that you have read. So here are some of the books that I read recently: Artificial Intelligence, Entrepreneurship, and Leadership. So you can check these out. But which books did you find particularly inspiring, useful, mind-opening? You can write about those books. Okay. So the idea is to capture all these learning. And I put the example here as well. Okay, this was my example. Desert Island Discs, TED Talks, books, movies. So the idea is that learning is everywhere. It comes from anywhere. It is dynamic, it is natural, it happens at the speed of life. The more you discover the joy of learning, the more you will transform yourself. So learning and curiosity are the abundance that transform your life and enrich your life. We need learning, creativity, and inspiration and imagination. These will enhance your life. And that's the idea here. So please keep writing and producing your self-directed learning evidence table. Keep typing up your experiences. If you were excited recently, inspired, go back. Why were you excited or inspired by? Capture that and share it with us. Okay, I want you to be ready to share one thing with one another in groups. Be ready to share just one thing. Please try to wrap up your discussions. Sorry for interrupting and finishing, but we are running out of time. Before we finish, let me ask you, do you have any questions about any of these activities? Seminar 5, the Gibbs cycle. You just type in your responses, apply the Gibbs cycle, and copy and paste that to your portfolio. Yeah? And Seminar 6, your evidence table. You just bring together whatever excites you, inspires you, like in the last few weeks. Okay. Yeah, let me share the QR code again in a minute. So let me copy that. If you haven't registered, please do so. This is the QR code. So how many words? I mean, we won't be counting words, Sam. It's up to you. What matters is you rigorously apply each stage and come up with an event, an incident that is meaningful, interesting, and try to capture attention as you write. It should be something useful and relevant to you. That's what matters. And turn it into something that you can learn from. Yeah, just one example is fine, Aaron. You don't need more examples. Just one critical incident is fine. So let's say you are, it can be about, let's say, this coronavirus lockdown, or like having to adapt to this online learning environment. So that's a great topic to reflect on. Yeah. So this can be like your incident. Sam, there are not really word limits or like maximum, minimum words. Not really. I mean, just follow each part. Like use common sense. Don't make it like too long, maybe, but keep it rigorous and detailed as much as you can. Okay, so use your common sense. But if you are not sure, you can also send me wherever you have, you know, your portfolio ready. Like you can also ask feedback if you want. Okay, any other questions before we finish? Are you clear on Seminar 5 and 6 activities? Cool. Next, I think you have done really well today. Congratulations. This was like a good discussion today. And please keep working on your portfolio activities. I will be going on Friday afternoon. In the Friday lecture, we will be continuing on to the portfolio activities. So I will see you then. And I wish you a great week. Thanks a lot for your contributions. And I will see you on Friday afternoon. Thank you, everyone, and good evening. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.